ENTJs are often described as individuals who see not just what is in front of them, but what could exist if vision, strategy, and determination were fused into unstoppable motion. Their minds operate like strategic engines, constantly scanning their environment for inefficiencies, opportunities, and ways to move people and systems toward a higher level of functioning. At the heart of the ENTJ personality is extrovert thinking, the function that propels them to take quick, decisive action. They approach life like a grand enterprise, seeking to organize the world into clear, logical systems that lead to measurable, sustainable success. Where many people wait for permission, approvals, or signs from the universe, ENTJs forge ahead with confidence born from clarity. They see the bigger picture long before others do, and they instinctively break that vision down into actionable, meaningful steps. This gives them the rare ability to inspire confidence in others, not just because they lead loudly, but because they lead with direction, certainty, and intentionality. Their auxiliary function, introverted intuition, adds a depth of strategic foresight to their leadership style. ENTJs are not impulsive tyrants eager to dominate. Instead, they are long-term thinkers who connect patterns and possibilities that the average person might overlook. They enjoy the challenge of solving problems that seem unsolvable and bringing structure to chaos. When ENTJs speak, there is often a sense that they are drawing from a mental blueprint others cannot see. They trust their intuitive insights, even if they cannot always articulate the inner process behind their conclusions. This is why ENTJs often feel like commanders, firm, future-focused, and relentlessly purposeful. Their worldview is shaped by a belief that progress is essential and stagnation is dangerous. In their relationships, workplaces, and personal pursuits, ENTJs have little tolerance for inefficiency, dishonesty, or emotional manipulation. They prefer direct communication that gets to the point, and they respect people who can think independently, stand their ground, and bring competence to the table. While this can sometimes make them appear intimidating or overly blunt, their intention is rarely to harm. They simply value clarity and effectiveness, and they assume others value the same. For ENTJs, respect comes from strength, either strength of mind, strength of character, or strength of vision. Because they are driven by logic and goal-oriented action, ENTJs sometimes struggle with the emotional nuances that others consider important. They may overlook subtle emotional cues or misinterpret emotional expressions as distractions rather than vital signals. This does not mean they don't care. ENTJs often care deeply about the people they choose to invest in. Rather, they show their care through actions, problem-solving, support, and providing opportunities for growth. To an ENTJ, giving someone the tools to advance in life is one of the highest expressions of love or loyalty. Their minds lean toward solutions, and their hearts often follow in the same direction. In their friendships and romantic relationships, ENTJs value loyalty, depth, and a sense of forward momentum. They want partners and friends who grow with them, challenge them intellectually, and bring their own ambitions into the relationship. Emotional vulnerability does not come easily to them, but once they trust someone enough to open up, their loyalty becomes fierce and their commitment unwavering. When ENTJs allow themselves to soften, they reveal a surprisingly warm, humorous, and protective side that can be both grounding and inspiring. Beneath their commanding exterior lies a person who wants to build, uplift, and secure the future, not only for themselves, but for the people they cherish. In work environments, ENTJs excel in roles that require big-picture thinking, strategic direction, quick decision-making, and the ability to manage large systems or teams. They do not wait to be told what needs to be done. They identify gaps, propose solutions, and take initiative. Many ENTJs rise to leadership positions naturally, not because they chase titles, but because their competence, clarity, and confidence position them as the natural choice. They are often the ones who can transform struggling organizations, launch innovative ventures, or lead teams through complex challenges with a sense of purpose and momentum. Their weaknesses typically arise from the same strengths that make them remarkable. Their directness can come across as harsh or insensitive. Their focus on efficiency, can make emotional or relational concerns seem secondary. Their confidence can occasionally slip into stubbornness, and their desire for growth can make them impatient with slower, more cautious personalities. Yet ENTJs grow quickly once they understand how their impact affects others. When they learn to slow down, listen more intentionally, and consider how their words land emotionally, they become even more powerful leaders and partners. Their emotional growth often comes later in life, but when it does, it refines them beautifully, adding empathy and emotional intelligence to their already strong leadership skills. What makes ENTJs truly extraordinary is their ability to create order from disorder and movement where there was stagnation. They have a gift for seeing the full map of a situation, past, present, and future, and understanding how every piece fits together. Their confidence is not empty bravado. It is built on competence, preparation, vision, and the belief that obstacles exist to be overcome. People naturally gravitate toward ENTJs because their presence often brings direction and a sense of stability. They are the ones who can rally people toward a shared goal, who can remain calm under pressure, and who can make difficult decisions with clarity and resolve. ENTJs are often misunderstood as emotionless or overly rigid, but the truth is far more interesting. They are passionate, purposeful, and deeply committed to creating meaningful change, both in their personal lives and in the world. They feel emotions intensely, even if they express them differently from more emotionally oriented types. And at their core, ENTJs want what every human wants: connection, belonging, purpose, and fulfillment. They simply pursue these things with a unique blend of intensity and vision. To know an ENTJ is to encounter a force of nature, one who thinks boldly, acts decisively, loves deeply, and strives endlessly. Their presence is transformative. Their vision is inspiring. Their drive is contagious. And their leadership has the power to change families, communities, companies, and even entire societies. They are not merely thinkers or doers. They are catalysts. They turn ideas into reality, potential into achievement, and chaos into order. ENTJs do not simply dream of a better world. They build it. Beyond their reputation for bold leadership and strategic brilliance, ENTJs possess an internal landscape that is far more nuanced than many people realize. While they move through life with confidence and determination, there is also a quieter layer within them where they wrestle with questions of meaning, legacy, identity, and connection. This inner world is shaped by their introverted intuition, which constantly urges them to look beneath the surface and ask what all their achievements and ambitions are ultimately building toward. ENTJs are not satisfied with temporary success or shallow accomplishments. They crave a sense of purpose that resonates deeply, something that aligns with the bigger story they believe their life is meant to tell. This longing for purpose becomes even more apparent during moments when their external world slows down. When they're not actively driving toward a goal, ENTJs may suddenly feel the weight of their thoughts, prompting them to reflect on whether they are pursuing what truly matters or simply doing what they can do. These introspective moments often refine their direction and reshape their priorities. ENTJs grow significantly when they learn to balance their relentless pursuit of progress with a need for internal alignment. This balance is what transforms them from powerful achievers into wise visionaries. Another lesser-known aspect of ENTJs is their emotional loyalty. Once they choose to invest in someone, whether a friend, partner, or colleague, they commit with a depth that may surprise those who only see their commanding exterior. ENTJs do not give loyalty casually. They give it with intention, after observing a person's integrity, consistency, and capability. When that trust is established, they become protectors, advocates, and pillars of strength. They will stand by people they care about even when it is inconvenient or difficult, because for ENTJs, loyalty is a reflection of character. It is one of the few things they consider sacred. ENTJs also possess a strong desire for honesty. Not just honesty in communication, but honesty in self-presentation. They dislike pretense, vague motives, or emotional games. They admire people who show up authentically, even if that authenticity includes flaws or vulnerabilities. What they struggle with, ironically, is extending the same vulnerability to others. Their self-protective instinct often leads them to present an image of strength even during moments when they feel uncertain or overwhelmed. Part of their emotional growth involves learning that vulnerability is not weakness, and that allowing trusted people to support them does not diminish their power. Creativity is another aspect of ENTJs that often goes unnoticed. Though known as logical, structured thinkers, many ENTJs carry a quiet but profound creative energy rooted in their intuitive insights. They may express this creativity through innovative ideas, unconventional problem solving, or visionary projects rather than through traditional artistic mediums. Their minds naturally generate possibilities that others fail to consider, and their creativity often manifests in the form of transformation, taking something ordinary and reimagining it at a higher level. ENTJs thrive when they are allowed to innovate rather than merely execute. A significant challenge for ENTJs lies in reconciling their independence with their need for connection. They are highly self-reliant and prefer to solve problems on their own, which can create a perception that they do not need anyone. Yet on a deeper level, ENTJs value companionship and partnership immensely. What they truly desire is someone who understands the weight they carry, someone strong enough to stand beside them without shrinking in their presence. They want relationships where growth is mutual, where each person rises with the other, and where emotional honesty builds trust rather than tension. When they find such relationships, ENTJs become incredibly nurturing, using their strength not just to lead but to support, encourage, and elevate those they love. Another interesting aspect is the ENTJ's complicated relationship with rest. Their minds are constantly active, always planning the next move, analyzing what could be improved, or considering how to turn ideas into action. Rest can feel counterproductive to them, even though it is essential for their well-being. When ENTJs finally learn to embrace rest, not as laziness but as replenishment, they become far more balanced, insightful, and grounded. They begin to appreciate the difference between urgency and importance, and they learn to prioritize what nourishes them rather than what simply keeps them busy. In professional settings, ENTJs often deal with the burden of being the one others depend on. People look to them for answers, structure, guidance, and direction, which can sometimes leave ENTJs feeling isolated. They may silently carry the pressure of ensuring everything runs smoothly, even when they are exhausted or uncertain. This internal pressure pushes them toward perfectionism, not because they fear failure, but because they fear letting down those who trust them. Learning to share the load, delegate more effectively, and acknowledge their own limits becomes a vital milestone in their personal development. There is also a deeply philosophical side to ENTJs that emerges when they feel safe enough to express it. They often ponder themes like destiny, legacy, and the moral implications of power. They do not want to lead for the sake of control. They want to lead in a way that creates lasting impact. They think about how their actions ripple through the lives of others, and how their choices shape the trajectory of their communities or organizations. With maturity, ENTJs develop a strong sense of responsibility and a desire to use their strengths ethically, not just effectively. Perhaps one of the most beautiful things about ENTJs is their capacity for reinvention. They are not afraid to leave behind outdated versions of themselves or tear down structures that no longer serve their goals. When ENTJs evolve, they evolve boldly. They reinvent themselves with the same determination they bring to every other area of their lives. This ability to shed old patterns and step into higher versions of themselves makes them natural pioneers, not just in the world, but within their own internal journeys. To truly understand an ENTJ is to see beyond their commanding presence and recognize the depth, the vision, the loyalty, and the emotional complexity that fuel their drive. Yes, they build and lead and accomplish great things, but they also feel deeply, love fiercely, question profoundly, and grow continuously. Their journey is one of mastering both the outer world and the inner world, aligning ambition with meaning, strength with vulnerability, and leadership with humanity. When all these elements come together, the ENTJ becomes not just a powerful force in the world, but a deeply inspiring one.